So why do people who are considered very advanced in enlightenment and spirituality dying of severe illnesses like cancer, diabetes, complications, um, brain hemorrhage, heart attack? And in my experience, I know of many highly elevated people which are respected worldwide, like Ramakrishna, died of throat cancer before, in his 50s. He was in his 50s, right? Before he could reach 60. I think probably in his mid 50s, around 54 or so, if I could be mistaken. But definitely before the age of 60, which is considered relatively young. And his protege or his disciple or student, Swami Vivekananda, which became world renowned, by bringing Advaita Vedanta to the West, which the center that he started is still continuing very strongly in the US and worldwide. And it's a very well-known organization, right? And himself, Swami Vivekananda, died at the age of 39, right? And these people had very strong Kundalini awakening. If there is an incident of Swami Vivekananda meditating with one of his fellow students, fellow disciples, and he said, no, just touch my body when I meditate, when I go, because when he goes to meditation, the Kundalini awakens and the entire body becomes electrified. The entire body, there's electricity running through it. And when his fellow brother disciple touched him, he felt electrocuted. And his consciousness, his mindset, and his thinking patterns all permanently changed from that day after touching him. And their guru, Ramakrishna, scolded Vivekananda and said, don't do something like that. He's not authorized to do it, something like that. That was the incident. But the key element is I am a bioenergy healer on a master level. I'm actually specializing in terminal illnesses and critical care recovery through remote methods. And I'm using the same energy, this electrical energy, which is exponentially higher in people like Ramakrishna. Ramana Maharishi also died of cancer before the age of 60. Very well known, in Advaita Vedanta philosophy from the south of India. And Swami Vivekananda dying. How come this energy is supposed to be a heavy bioelectrical energy, did not cure their cancer, did not cure Ramakrishna's cancer, did not cure Ramana Maharishi's cancer? And it is like mind-blowing stuff. Their physical body must have been enveloped and soaked in this energy. So it's seemingly and theoretically as well as logically impossible that they could have not only any illness, but the most serious kind, terminal illness and cancer. So in my experience, using this energy, especially for terminal cancer, is very effective for cancer, right? For cancer treatment. And yet this is how the people died. Then I come across my own parents' gurus, the guru of my mother, who I know, grew up knowing, as a young boy. And I got to learn that he was extremely advanced, because when he did the Shaktipat, initiation, the disciple got knocked out unconscious. That's how heavy the electrical, the Kundalini energy was there, fully awake, right? And he died in his 50s as well. And his guru in South Africa, who was considered a saint and probably on the level of incarnation, because he had special markings under his foot, a double triangle he was born with, like the lines in your palm. It It was engraved on one of his foot. I don't know whether it's right or left foot. He himself died in 50 something. And he wrote a lot of poems that he claimed was revealed to him. And if one goes into it, there's a lot of truth in it, and it seems like a spiritual revelation that's not from a normal human. It's something magical, right? And it has spiritual power in it. The organization that it's still running till today, but not very strongly. But these people all seem to be dying, early. And here comes me, Osman, the blind Muslim yogi, right? Bioenergy healer, using this very same energy to heal and claiming that yoga meditation, is very beneficial for your health, is good for your longevity, and for reversing illnesses, right? Now, I think all these people also ate a very healthy diet, close to vegetarian diet. Even Yogananda, who started the Self-Realization Fellowship in Los Angeles, and it's now international, I think over 500 branches worldwide, right? Currently still running. Wrote the autobiography of a yogi, which is so famous. Himself died before the age of 60, right? And so if one has to say that these people not practicing pranayama, but the kriya practice is the ultimate pranayama, right? So why? How come, right? So I want to give my opinion on it, that let's start with the kriya practice, right, of Yogananda, which his guru is Yukteswar, died at the age of 83, I believe, right? Which in those years was like equivalent to today's age of 120, because in those years people were dying, before the age of 50. I think 35 was the average age of the people in India during the old years. So he like triple, the average age. But the difference was between Yogananda and his own guru, Sri Yukteswar, his own guru, practice the kriya for long hours every night. When he goes to bed, he is to lay down and go into the samadhi experience and flush that energy throughout his body, and his every cell was vibrating in his body. So he was working on transforming his physical body to the energy body, which is what you're saying. And his guru, Sri Yukteswar's guru, Lahiri Mahasai, succeeded in transforming the energy body into the light body, and he could levitate. So being Yogananda's grand guru, his guru's guru, was able to levitate. But Lahiri Mahasai, if you can levitate, mean transforming all your cells, if you take a photograph of Lahiri Mahasai, he was not coming out in the photos. There was only one photo he allowed him, because when they take a photo, there's no reflection of light. Light absorbed because his body was becoming light. Then how come he didn't live like an eternal life and he died like a seemingly normal age? So coming back to Sri Yukteswar, living around 83 plus and practicing the kriya intensely by circulating that kriya, that kundalini energy throughout the body, right? And so when you have to understand kriya is you are consciously with your mind. One of the Upanishads I heard that describing kundalini, that the kundalini obeys the mind, and a lot of people interpret it in their ways, right? So it took me to learn how to control my kundalini energy, 30 years to learn, and it's through the mind. So let's give, instead of giving my own example, we'll give more acceptable example, someone who's considered an established authority on kundalini from the old days is Gopi Krishna. He mentioned in his book that when he was meditating and his kundalini was awakened, so he could see his kundalini through his spiritual eye, and it used to start rising up, and he used to focus on the crown of his head, right, in his meditation. So people, their dharana or the concentration is on some people, many people focus on the third eye region, the region where the nostril bone, the nose bone meets the skull. Right at that junction, some people focus there. Some people focus a little bit up in the hollow of the forehead, saying that's the third eye region. Some people focus in the center of the cerebrum, where the pineal gland is supposed to be situated, above the palate, slightly below the crown of the head, and I think slightly backwards, slightly back, not absolutely central, where the pineal gland approximately is, and saying that is the true center, energetic center of the third eye. Focus. Some people focus on the heart chakra, right? Or some people focus on the rising and falling of the chest. These are common this thing. Different people focus on different. So Gopi Krishna used to focus on the crown of his head. He visualized a lotus flower, slightly above, which means on the seventh chakra. Seventh chakra is slightly above the head. There is an energy center on the crown of the head, on exactly on the head itself, on the center, called the Brahmarandra, right? And if one reads the Serpent Power of Arthur Avalon or Sir John Woodroffe, he mentions altogether, including the crown of the head, below the seventh chakra slightly above the crown of the head, and the crown of the head up to the third eye chakra, he mentions about 6 other power centers, energy centers, or chakras, right? So the 7 chakras are the major chakras. So there are a total of 114 chakras, and he mentions about 20 up to the chest, and then above the chest also another 20. I think altogether about 40 some odd chakras in total. I'm not clear on the number, but definitely more than 7, right? Well above. That these are minor energy centers, and also you have throughout your body, right? Going to your hands and your legs and your abdomen and so forth. Your shoulders. There are energy centers. Or if you go into the energy healing arts of the ancient Chinese culture, the acupuncture, they push the needles through different energy centers throughout the body, right? So I don't know 100%. I'm not qualified in acupuncture. I'm in Qigong. I qualified in Qigong energy healing, right? So there's energy centers throughout. So Gopi Krishna said when he visualized and the Kundalini started to rise, it used to come to the crown of the head. But whenever he looked at the Kundalini and observed it and focused his attention, his spiritual eye to the Kundalini, he focused where it's coming from it went back to the base of the spine. And then he focused on the crown, it used to rise to the crown. When he focused back on it to observe it, it went back down. So when he looked at where it's originating from, the root chakra, which some people arguably, they say it's not, even himself, Gopi Krishna himself, was saying that people say that the origin of the Kundalini is the base of the spine because the energy utilizes in the advanced level, once it's awakened, it utilizes to energize it as a source of energy. One of its primary sources of energy is the sexual energy. So because that energy is rising from that region, it is assumed that the Kundalini energy is there. But many scriptures are saying that it's coiled 3.5 times at the base. Himself, Gopi Krishna himself says that. But he says it's permeating throughout the body, right? It can be anywhere. And it moves throughout the body, it moves everywhere. And it is a symptom of life, right? Energizing of life, that how you can self-heal, how a child can grow, how a person, when he gets a bruise, he can get better, for minor illnesses. And of course, major illnesses, you need allopathic medication. And also, despite me doing energy healing and so forth and all these healing arts, they are not replacement for medical treatment, right? And this is clearly, clinically and scientifically proven that if one adds allopathic medicine to the natural methods, that combination increases the healing rate by between 35% and 450%, right? So it's a massive difference. And it's something very highly tested, clinically tested, proven, and with proven outcomes, right? For the majority of people. Whereas the natural methods, even Kundalini awakening, for example, the number of people that can practice on a daily basis yoga meditation on an advanced level and attain enlightenment experience of the first samadhi, the sabikalpi samadhi, where the kundalini is gone to the crown chakra, or the crown chakra, explodes into bliss, existence consciousness bliss, right? Truth, truth consciousness bliss, they call it Satchidananda, right? The common term is, in my estimation and estimation, generally is 0,0004%, right? So 3 to 4 in a million who's practicing, right? Or inclined towards it. Though from those who are professionally practicing it, it's 3 to 4%, right? Will attain it. It's very difficult. And even the healing, although my healing numbers are very high, right? It's in my experience, according to my observances. I'm doing this for about 50 years and thousands of patients, and I'm now doing it in an advanced level and critical care recovery terminal. It's well over 90%, right? But does it mean it is a scientific phenomenon? That no, right? So although it's over a long period of time, over 100 countries, right? And on a high level, but still there needs to be done a peer-to-peer review, and it has to be reviewed under clinical situations, laboratories, and across multicultural, multi countries, in clinical environments, right? In a university situation where they are neutral, objective, and qualified um, people observing the results over a long period of time. I would suggest like at least 2 million people over a 50-year period, over we'll say 196 countries, right? And that is now an epidemiological study, which is a more reliable study before one can rely on those claims, right? But why I have probably high results, why it can be attributed as well, is because I'm practicing yoga meditation for about 50 years, and on an advanced level, and attained my first enlightenment experience, I think 39 years ago, in 1980, during December. I don't know the exact date, I didn't write the date down, but it was in December of 1987, right? So that is now 39 years ago, or 38 years ago, because it's still not yet December 2026. In December 2026 will be exactly 39 years, right, ago. So in that period, it was always confusing to me, how come people were very sickly? So I studied multiple cultures, right? Multiple religions, including the religion of the Hare Krishna movement. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, who traveled by ship to the US in his late 60s, he had 3 major heart attacks on the ship, or multiple heart attacks on the ship. And when he was entered the US, when he was starting to propagate, he got very ill, and he was in hospital for several months, and they were connected to all types of tubes, and he was not improving, right? And then he felt he wanted, and this was the beginning stage of his mission, but he had the deep desire that he wanted to complete his mission, and he felt that staying in hospital is not making him better, that he's pulled out all the cords, and he decided to leave the hospital, and he implemented one protocol. He decided every morning, when he gets up like 1.5 hours before sunrise, called the Brahma Muhurta time, that they start the morning prayer and so forth. And once the sun rises, early morning sunrise, and they did the temple program and the rising, then he, together with his devotees, used to take a walk along the beach every morning, when he was sick, and he started to recover. So he adopted a new protocol of walking in the morning sun. So currently, scientifically, we know the therapeutic effects of the morning sun. Just to sit 15 to 20 minutes in the morning sun, it spikes the vitamin D production in the body, it improves the immune function, and also the exercise, walking exercise, is a mild cardiovascular exercise that is considered very therapeutic for the heart. So he went on from the age of 69 when he started this practice, 69, 70, and he lived until 83. And in that time, he completed to write many of his books, right? He completed the Srimad Bhagavatam, he completed the commentary of the Bhagavad Gita, and many small books, hundreds of books, and he successfully opened 108 temples worldwide, right? But the difference is not just advanced in enlightenment, he was considered enlightened, that because when people interviewed him and asked him, okay, you said we must worship Krishna, can you see? He said, yes, he could see. Where is he could see him everywhere, right? The form of Krishna, right? And the pictures and the drawings that they have, he said, closely resembles what Krishna really looks like. So he was able to see with his spiritual eye, right? But he was so sickly. But the change he made was physical fitness, walking and in the early morning sun, that turned his health around. So the spiritual energy in and of itself is not therapeutic. It has to work in conjunction with multiple other factors. And what I noticed is that in yoga, most of these people like Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharishi, Swami Vivekananda, Yogananda, these gurus, all these gurus that I mentioned, they weren't practicing Hatha Yoga. They weren't. They were all just vegetarian, but not, taking wholesome, we'll say, well-rounded, nutrition. Like I'm having mainly, I'm not 100% vegan. I would say 99.99%. If I'm on a flight and there's no vegetarian food or so, I will eat what's there, right? For me, it's not a sin to eat it. Just that in the earlier stages of developing my Kundalini energy, when I learned to control it, and I found that eating meat products dampen that energy. And anytime I can get a call, to do remote healing, when I used to eat red meat, it used to completely flatten my healing energy for up to 7 days. Try as I may, it was not rising. But now, if I eat meat products or eat meat, there's no problem. I can have, I tested chicken and eggs and fish and all these things. My energy is still there, right? I didn't notice any dampening effect, right? But maybe immediately after eating, there could be a slightly dampening effect. But normally, I practice in different times of the day, 3 different times of the day, 2 hours, 3 times a day, 6 hours a day at one time, right? Just 2 years ago, I was doing 6 hours a day, just the Kriya practice, right? And I didn't find any dampening, right, of the energy itself. But I found the positive influence of raw cruciferous vegetables, unroasted, unsalted nuts, right, where there's no preservative. It's still, I mean, if you put it in a soil or put it in water, it's gonna spring shoots, peanuts. So up to now, my snack that I snack on primarily is raw, unroasted peanuts, right? And unsalted, right? Because I don't want to increase the salt content more above, because salt is important for the body, but too much of it is harmful, right? According to science. So if I'm, snacking on it all the time, and I'm snacking on peanut because it's a very rich source of energy, prana, the subtle life force energy. and amazing sauce, so it really energizes me well. And having the raw cruciferous blender, right, the green smoothie, as recommended by Brooke Goldner, but I also put in raw lemons, whole lemons. I chop it up with the peel, right, together with a handful of flax seeds into the blender, and I put in like a thumb size of ginger. Ginger is a root, right? So from Chinese philosophies, root is very important for the life force energy, and they can spend millions of dollars for roots that are over 100 years old and 200-year-old roots. We are very rare medicinal roots, different types of roots, and you get the common root, right? But the root underground has high life force energy, and even Dr. Don Miselim praises the sweet potatoes, right? It has amazing therapeutic effect, especially for women having, menopause and cancer treatment, and treatment of this thing together with the skin. To eat it together with the skin is absolutely, if you can have a sweet potato like 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, is going to be absolutely amazing. And even in fitness science, we're having it. It's amazing. So the Kundalini energy alone is not the thing, right? So yes, that's the energy that is healing, but my clients are not getting healed because I'm just sending the energy. I'm giving them holistic therapy. I'm recommending temporarily for them to cut out inflammatory foods, right? There are certain foods that are inflammatory. If their conditions are inflamed, to reduce inflammation, to improve the boosting of the immune system, immune boosting foods like sweet potato, edamame, right? Edamame is absolutely amazing. If you can have half a cup of edamame a day during menopause, man, you're gonna get back your estrogen levels. Your marriage life is going to immediately find a booster within a few days, right? And even for men, it's a testosterone booster, right? And the yellow of eggs, right? These are non-vegetarian. But the yellow of eggs has got the exact cholesterol that is needed for testosterone production. So if you're having low testosterone levels and so forth, I say before you go, for medical treatments, try natural from the natural food sources. There's a doctor that says this not forever, just for a 2-week period, have 12 egg yellows a day, just to boost. Suddenly, if you're going to have it consistently, you're going to get a heart problem. There's going to be too much of fat, too much of alcohol, but too much of cholesterol in your body. Although it's a healthy cholesterol, but the fat buildup, it's going to build up and line your arteries. But over a 14-day period is okay to see if there's a difference, because sometimes just that 14 days you don't need testosterone replacement therapy, right? TRTs, because TRTs, you're going to put that is putting hormones into your body, try to prevent. Maybe it is just, then you go to like maybe, 1 or 2 or 3 a day, right? And go into green teas and natural methods and so forth, and eventually, this. And we found that having the green smoothie over a 6-month period, it helped to cure many people who complained of erectile dysfunction as well, immune system booster. So with my energy healing, I'm incorporating that they must do when they are able to. Of course, when they're in a hospital bed, they can't, they have to eat the hospital food, but try to encourage them to bring, like the sweet potato into the diet, and try to remove inflammatory foods and, meat products, reduce it if you can't completely eliminate, till you're better. And eliminate sugar, right? Especially in cancer treatment, till you're better, right? Because sugar feeds the cancer cells, proliferates it. So you starve it of sugar and refined glucose, right? And highly processed foods and so forth, right? So I'm removing also, I'm doing holistic therapy, as well as in my normal yoga protocols. I'm teaching, the alternative nostril breathing, annum vinulum, nostril breathing. And although I'm practicing the kriya and raise, that's the type of pranayama, but that pranayama is just to raise the kundalini up and down the spine. We are just offering therapy for the 7 major chakras or the 40 some more chakras within the spine, not all the chakras throughout the body. You need to twist and bend your body and move your body, like in Hatha Yoga or in Tai Chi, right? Tai Chi is also good, where you're moving your body, normal fitness, right? Going into doing your, your crunches and your push-ups and your squats and your burpees, and your spider crawls, and where you're moving and bending your body, right? Because this helps that the energy don't get stuck only in pockets. When you're doing Kriya and advanced level meditation, the energy is just getting powered up in your major chakras along the spine. But the rest of the body, no, it's not going there. And there's blockages all there unless you bending and twisting and doing physical exercise and also adding fitness. I say yoga is not fitness. Yoga is not part of your fitness program. Doesn't mean you're doing yoga, your fitness exercise is covered. No, fitness is one of the three foundations of foundational health. Your sleep, amount of sleep that you have, and your nutrition that you have, a balanced nutrition, right? Have at least a 70-30, 70%, from the plant and vegetable kingdom, from the 5 different colors, and try to have at least 28 to 30 different varieties from the plant and vegetable kingdom in a week, right? And the other 30%, healthy meats like fish at least twice a week, because it's a rich source of the minerals from the sea, as well as omega-3. But not too much. Fish is healthy, but too much of fish can cause, like too much of canned tuna and so forth, people having, it can cause mercury poisoning, right? So we need for you to have balance. And the eggs are the egg white is a rich source of protein, right? And you need to have protein and have red meats at least like once a week, right? And also different people's body is different. Some people going on a carnivore diet, they found they able to reverse and manage chronic ailments much better, you know, by strictly observing carnivore diet, right? So your dietary protocols, your fitness protocols, your sleep protocols, 7 to 9 hours. Traditionally, most of the people who are practicing yoga meditation or advanced in meditation generally having 3 to 4 hours of sleep. So Dr. Deepak Chopra has observed in scientific protocol those who are advanced in meditation, practicing, minimum 10 to 18 hours of meditation a day and have attained the delta levels, right? And observed with over 50,000 experiments, in advanced meditators, right? That if they have less than 7 to 9 hours a day, the telomeres still shorten, and they going to be in exposing themselves for a higher preponderance of chronic ailments and aging process and cancers and diabetes and strokes and all these things, right? So so being advanced and reaching samadhi level and neglecting the other aspects of your health is detrimental. So yes, you can have the healing energy. The healing energy is not going to fix the physiological parts, right? It's not going to just fix it. It just improves. So I'm able to mindfully send, because I've, doing this, practicing this for decades, right? Decades upon decades upon decades, so I learned how to manipulate and send it, and how to energize the energy body, the subtle base of the or the blueprint of your physical body. But I can't heal the physical body. But it has an influence in powering up and energizing and calming the person down, that his response to the medical treatment improves. Right? So most of my clients, or nearly all my clients, are under medical treatment, but they were not responding and they were given hope. And we just added, because the winning horse wins the jackpot by just a nose. Just adding one small thing, boom, it improves your chance. And then it's just that little thing to push you over the climax, over the top, and recover. So some people says the people in ICU, when they are exposed to sunlight, it can cure them better. No, yes, some people the sunlight is energizing, and they found scientifically that those patients who are along the eastern windows where there's a sunrise, where the sun is coming through, right? Usually worldwide are getting discharged before the other patients. Means the recovery rate usually across the board, generally speaking, not necessarily 100% of the time, but generally are getting discharged better because the only difference is they're getting the morning sun, the sunlight, right? And sunlight is very therapeutic as well. So the people can be very advanced with this energy. Energy healing is amazing and so forth, but it is amazing in conjunction with your medical treatment, in conjunction with sufficient sleep, in conjunction with a balanced diet and anti-inflammatory diet, especially when are ill, when you're recovering. Go on an anti-inflammatory diet until you are better, then reintroduce your inflammatory food that you can't live without, right? And follow a holistic program that when you're doing yoga meditation as well, you're doing hatha yoga and breath work. I do 4 different types of breath work on a daily basis, right? But I'm also doing fitness, right? I'm doing my push-ups, I'm doing my my crunches, and I'm doing my squats, right? Because we need to do physical fitness as well. When I was learning yoga, my yoga teacher, when we were young, they said yoga is not physical fitness. You must do physical fitness is different. You must still do physical fitness as well. You must do your jogging, you do your cardio, you do your strength training. So I used to go for martial arts as well, right? So I did my yoga as well as martial arts. In martial arts, we did a lot of body workouts, right? Mainly body workouts. And in those years, I don't know, these years, the modern day martial artists are going to the gym and pumping iron and all these things, right? um, so that is different. But later in my adult life, I found pumping iron, especially when I went to university. We had a gym, a proper gym, and we had access to weights and so forth, and there were other people taught us how to use it. So phenomenally how muscle grows, right? Much faster, right? It was so amazing, and I got addicted to working out in gyms and using free weights and also machine weights, right? You can target different angles, different muscles, right? So you can go through 30 different types of machines, targeting 30 different muscle groups or angles of a muscle, right? Your chest muscle, the lower part of it, the outer part of it, the inner the inner part of it. You using different movements, different exercise movements, and so all these are together is forming the wellness. You're going into enlightenment and neglecting your sleep, neglecting your nutrition, right? Not following the scientific requirements for fitness, right? At least walk 2 miles a day, right? 2 to 3 times a week. Just take a walk to the 10-minute walk to the shop 2 to 3 times a week and walk back, right? Don't take the car to the shop, right? During if you're in certain dangerous areas, that you go in that time, it's safer, right? There were friends of mine. They said, "Oh, we in the UK, and it's very dangerous. We can get robbed and so forth." I say, "Don't go alone. Form a group, walking group. Go when it's still daylight, right? So form groups and go, in groups of people. Don't go alone. Go in the daylight hours in the afternoon or early morning, right? 5 a.m., 6 a.m. You just before you can go to work. Just not every day, twice a week, right? Thrice a week. Try to slowly build up to thrice a week. Once you get used to it, it'll empower you feel that feeling of wellness. When you very quickly, it's not going to take years and months. Within days, within a few weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, some people, immediately they start feeling a difference, by working out regularly. They feel more positive, more energized, and be able to focus better at work. You're feeling that sense of wellness, right? From it. So do not rely on the Kundalini energy alone to increase your lifespan. Yes, pranayama is known, like especially the type of pranayama. Kundalini pranayama is not known to increase, although people supposed to be longer, but it's conjunction with spreading the energy. What's the use of raising the energy up and down the main parts of your main chakras, and the other minor chakras not getting anything, right? So you need to bend your body doing exercises that it squeezes these energy centers and pushes the energy to the other parts, because there are pockets of muck, matter or blockages in the subtle nadis that are blocked in other corners, or energy gets stuck in certain places. That's why you need to also move your body. So Bodhidharma, who is renowned to have introduced Tai Chi to the Buddhist monks when he came and visited, and he saw them all meditating. He says, "No, you must move your body. If you only going to be meditating, you're gonna, you're not going to have a healthy body. You're going to start, getting sick." So he introduces movement of the body, mimicking different animals, and brought Tai Chi to them. And the Tai Chi is what is improving the health in conjunction with meditation. So yes, meditation helps, Kriya helps, the Kundalini helps, that energy is very, but in conjunction with the foundation, your nutrition, sufficient sleep, and moving your body, as well as fitness exercises. You have to, not neglect all these things. So all these people who are so highly elevated, they neglected their sleep, they neglected, fitness exercises, right? And hatha yoga, they neglected hatha yoga as well, right? And they neglected pranayama, the anulum vilum pranayama, right? So this is important to also this thing include. Anulum vilum is pushing the cleansing all the nadis throughout the body, all your chakras. Time as you're going up the ladder to reach the level 4, you can learn for free in my search for the breathwork method, the 1-4-2 method, right? 1:4:2 ratio. Breathing in for if the ratio of the in breath to the retention to the out breath is 1:4:2, and the ultimate goal of reaching 16:64:32, that particular count, that number of 16, that 16:64:32, taken from the Tirumandaram, which is considered a very authentic text, about around 2000 years old, in verses 568, 572. And I found that amazing, right? So you don't have to do your own numbers like um, 3, 3, 12, 6. Some people do that, right? 3, 12, 6, right? So, or 4, 16, 8. We don't know what, people don't know what, but follow a sequence. And some people doing very high numbers, right? People who taught me, they didn't know about the 16, 64, 32, because I studied widely, multiple books, South Indian books, North Indian books, Islamic books, Egyptian culture books, the Maya traditions of the ancient, Indian, American Indian culture, the Aborigine cultures of, Australia, the Greek, the Greek mythology and philosophies, and studying, and I'm from Africa, the ancient traditional African herbal medicines, and the Chinese herbal medicine, Chinese, ancient arts, martial arts from Shaolin Temple, right? The energy healing that I learned from there, and so forth. You're studying cross-culturally, you learn, the exact protocols and what work and practical. And before I learned the 16:64:32, I used to do up to a retention of 300, 75, 300, 150, 75, 300, 150, right? And I found that, and I was doing that day, 21 rounds of that. I said, no, that's not practical. And it's also dangerous, right? Because I still have a human body. I'm coming to the threshold of 3 minutes, counting to 300, like counting to 100 is equivalent to counting to around 1 minute, right? Because the counting is different from, the seconds. We're not using the clocks. We're just using natural counting methods, right? So bringing me, because if you're going to deprive your brain of oxygen for 3 minutes or more, it could be a fatality point where you are killing brain cells. And for doing 21 rounds consistently, definitely I'm bringing myself to a very high risk of brain damage, right? So I said, no, let me just, for 16:64:32, that's okay, because 64 is less than a minute, right? It's like just more than half a minute, about 35 to 40 seconds, right? $21. It's well below 3 minutes, right? And people who are doing free diving, right? They are able to hold the breath and be in a breathless state for up to between 5 and 10 minutes, right? But they are doing this for long periods of time, and I would not encourage. I would not do it. No matter that you could do it, it's dangerous. More than 3 minutes means don't sleep less than 7 to 9 hours, right? No matter what advanced levels you are, samadhi level, don't sleep, because as Deepak Chopra found that people sleeping less, even you highly elevated, going to delta stage, going to samadhi for 18 hours in the day, it's a restful state, you still need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So all these things, you need to follow a holistic program, a holistic methodology for longevity, and not only the Kundalini on its own, right? That's going to bring it. And also with your mindset, stress level. I was doing fitness, having the perfect nutritional diet as recommended by a nutritionist. I went to a dietitian, professional qualified dietitian, as recommended by my doctor. And I used to go every 6 months, right, for my blood works and following all the protocols, right? Physical exercises, doing advanced level yoga, meditation, advanced level, in enlightenment from a young age. I was in my 30s doing all this, and by the age of 38, got three major. The third one was three major heart attacks, and was recommended to go to a cardiologist for a heart bypass. And I said, let me start using natural methods, and I removed myself from a toxic environment, psychologically toxic. So it was the psychological stress in addition. So I was following the perfect breath work, doing yoga, doing fitness, right? And I used to go to the driving range 2 to 3 hours a day, soaking wet head to toe, right? Soaking wet. My golf shirt was zero dry spot, right? Amazing you feel, right? It's a mild form of exercise, and you're swinging that ball in the driving range, right? And also going to the gym membership, and doing walking exercise, cycling. I used to love cycling, and still had this thing, and I had to remove stress mindfully. Yes, I had a positive attitude, everything, but I was in a toxic environment. I removed myself from that environment, right? And I removed myself away from the toxic people who were creating toxicity in my mind, affecting me toxically, right? Not that people are toxic. It was if I was taking it in a toxic manner. So I removed myself from those people. Within a few weeks, and within a 6 month period, my health level was so good. It was unbelievable, right? All my health markers came back to normal. So, in addition to all the physical things, even your environment, your toxicity, the people, don't be in an environment living with someone that is always putting you down, or be in an environment where, especially in a work environment, there's toxic people around you. Of course, you can't just resign your job. You try to search for another job, remove yourself, because that toxicity, or if your job is exposing you to very high stress levels on a daily basis, right? Especially people working in the emergency wards, and people in the police department that are on the beat, right? And soldiers who are exposed to the front line, right, suffering from PTSD, right? These are heavy psychological toxicity that's going to dramatically affect your health, right? This is psychological factors as well. So be wary of the psychological factors as well, in addition to everything else. And if you take care of everything in a rounded manner, then of course there's no perfection, and also there's genetic factors, and there's environmental factors, and you can meet with the accident, and you can break your neck, and or you can a lot of things, a lot of factors. But you do your best, what you can, that is practical, and do what you can, and strive towards improving yourself on a daily basis, and don't go into excess. Don't make it a stress in your life to follow wellness. Don't make it a stress point. Try to be practical as well, and um, normal as well, right? Have like a normal diet now and then, or 80-20, 20% fast foods. Not strictly, I mean, if you can strictly be without fast food, it's better, right? But now and then you're exposed to it, you can have it. Try to follow the middle path in everything, right? So hope that information helps you and enlightens you and makes you more aware to create importance for your own sleep, your environment, your tribe, the people that you join, and your work. It must be something that you love, not something that's the source of toxicity in you, because you're spending 80% of your life with your colleagues with which you work or in your career, right? So this is an important influence in your longevity and in your health, and for being around for the people that you love and care for. And don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't rely completely on the people you love, and because tomorrow their children can grow up, they become teenagers, they don't want to talk to you anymore. They're going to start rebelling against you. Some of them can become drug addicts, and what can you do? Your own children become a drug addict. Your own children not talking to you anymore. They, not standing by your side. They disappoint you. Don't put your self-esteem 100% in other people, right? Some people put the full self-esteem in the partner, and after 10 years, they find out that the partner was cheating on them, and so it breaks them completely broke down. Don't allow some another person, external environments, to control. Have balance. Yes, you I'm not saying don't love your partner, don't love your family, don't love your children, but have balance. Also don't have only one friend. Have a mixture of social circles, and try to put your self-esteem more on things that are unchangeable. Try to enjoy the sunrise. Try to enjoy the air that you breathe outside, in your exercise protocols, in your nutrition protocols. Try to have a wide variety of things, that even if life can change and you can no longer do certain things. See, I lost my eyesight, but I don't think in a single day I was depressed. Maybe I felt sad about it for about 10, 15 minutes. But I was like always positive and this thing. And I went and lived alone, and I didn't know how to take care of myself. As a blind person, I was a newly blind person, and now still relatively new. It's about just over 3 years, right? That I'm blind. But I'm becoming more and more independent, right? When I'm traveling now, I'm relying less and less on people, to help me to go. If I'm going to travel long distance, take a flight and so forth, I can go alone now, because I learned what I can rely on. I learned the magic of Ubers, right? That I must learn my immediate environment, and using my white stick, right, my white cane, to go from where I am, learn my environment in which I am, to be able to make it to the front gate. And there the Uber guy is there. He's going to be there at the front gate waiting for me, or the main entrance, right? And then he takes me, and I just tell him to take me, the magic of security. To any places, just take me to the entrance where there's a security. I don't just get off in the middle of the street. So if I'm going to go to one of the famous shopping malls, take me to the entrance door where there's a security station there, and any security, just leave me with that. I don't just leave me alone. So I tell the security. So the security radios are the security in the mall that, yeah, this helps someone, this guy is blind, and take me to, I want to go to this bank. And then from that bank, the employees will just take me to the entrance. Once I enter, the employees help me, in the bank, take me to the relevant section that I need to, and so forth. I never go into stress. I learned to live, and then I learned now, just over 3 years of being blind, that the sense of eyesight is not so important. It is actually, I got open to a whole new world as a blind person. I'm understanding people more nuanced, to the tone and cadence and the pitch of their voice and the speed with which they talk, understanding the hidden meaning behind what they're saying. Something is wrong, or they're a bit nervous. Why are they nervous? Or they're hiding something from me, how they're speaking, or the sarcastic way in which they're talking, or they're just talking in a way like they sound ignorant, that I have to forgive them for the ignorance, right? And nature of people also, people are generally becoming more and more narcissistic, right? More and more self-centered. not interested in helping a blind person, right? And I can sit and have to wait. There'll be crowds of people know that I need. There was one incident, I needed to go 15 steps away where the security was stationed. So I had to sit here because I had to tell the person to call the security. And she was too busy. She was the only employee there. She said, as soon as I'm free, I will call the security. And she was busy for 1.5 hours. I had to sit there. And people knew what I'm waiting for. And it was just 15 steps away where the security was. I didn't know it was 15 steps away. Otherwise, I would have screamed for the security, would have come, right? To take me so that, because I didn't want to stand alone waiting for an Uber. I didn't want to call the Uber standing alone, because when I stand alone, people see me alone, they want to come and rob me. And I've been robbed many times because they know I'm blind, I can't see who they are, right? And even private, I don't take private taxis because the private taxi sees this guy is blind, he doesn't know, he can't recognize my face, he doesn't know what my vehicle is, what my registration number is. So I can rob him, and they rob me, right? And they just left me in the middle of nowhere, right? Imagine that, right? And instead of getting depressed about these things, I said, this is, you get people who are bad, right? Not all people are bad, but sometimes majority, right? You have to protect yourself. So I have my friend booking the Uber so that one other person knows I'm taking the Uber. And when I reach my destination, I always phone and say, I reached my destination. You know that I wasn't robbed or murdered or kicked in the street and, left without a phone and so forth. He can report, and he knows what's the name of the driver, what's the number plate. So we learn to adapt. So I learned with the eyesight, and from the yoga meditation science, the Bhagavad Gita says superior to the five senses, which the body, is the mind. Superior to the mind is the intellect. Superior to the intellect is the false ego, the sense of I and your identity, right? Superior to that is your soul, that which is beyond energy, beyond the wave nature and particle nature, beyond quantum physics, right? That we don't know, is beyond time and space also, right? So when we say beyond the five senses, sight, the eye is one of the senses, the sense of sight, right? One of the five senses is the foundational mundane level. Above that is the mind. The mind is so amazing. So that's how we get this guy's, I think his name is Steve Dawkins, right? He was paralyzed and couldn't even talk, and amazing. He wrote books, and he was able to talk through his computer, right? And movements of his mouth and lip movement, moving a certain device to create, a voice and speak, right? He was paralyzed from the neck down and couldn't speak as well, right? How miraculous. And you live the world in your mind is another. And with yoga meditation and DMT, you learn there's so many other dimensions that are much in the experience of those who are having the psychedelic experience. It's much more superior. They want to be as long as possible in it. And the DMT experience is only 15 minutes, but ayahuasca is 5 to 6 hours. Mushrooms are several hours, right? So they want to go several hours into it, but it's an artificial thing. Meditation can take you, go into a total calm and relaxation. I used to meditate 18 hours a day, I never felt it. I go into the no thought state, into the delta state, zero experience state as well, right? You can go into the blissful state, which is amazing. You can also go into that zero state where you totally relax. You open your eyes, you only experience 2 minutes pass, but 18 hours passed, right? And you have these amazing, so there are so many things amazing about yoga, meditation, Kundalini experience, but doesn't mean you need balance in your life, right? And even me, I had my enlightenment level. I'm not dying to be non-existent. I do not believe there is a dual philosophy and non-dual philosophy that the body is the meat soup. I don't believe it. I believe the body, yes, we can have outer body experience, but the body is part of who we are. It's part of our construct that we have to come back down, because in your outer body experience, you can't take a spoon and bring it to your mouth. Your hand will go through the spoon, with your with your energy body, right? When you come out of your body and have your outer body experience, you can't hug your loved one. You need a body to hug them. You can't taste, food. You can smell, you can get smell with your subtle energy body, but you can't taste and eat food and hug someone, hug your children, and experience life on this level, right? You need your five senses, right, to experience life on this dimension as well. We are multi-dimensional, right? And have balance. Don't go fully into spirituality. Also have time for normal work, creating content, trying to help people. I'm trying to spread my knowledge and so that other people can benefit and improve their lives as well, right? So hope that information helps you, and take care of